Hey everyone, and welcome back to Joey's Retro Newscast. And I have heard all of your complaints week over week. You're like, Joey, there's just not enough device news. You talk about software, you talk about gaming, you talk about all the little things you talk about, but where's all the device news? And so this week, I talked to all of the gods, whatever your god is, I talked to him, and we have a whole bunch of device news to talk about this week. AYANEO is releasing 100 devices. GPD is releasing a handheld, but they forgot the handheld part of it. AYN is teasing something. There's a whole bunch of stuff that we're going to talk about today. And yeah, and Retro Pocket Flip 2 hinges are cracking, apparently. So that's also happening in deja vu from the last time, I guess. But we're going to talk about all that today, so let's just jump right in. But first, we have not talked about tariffs in a while, and unfortunately, I have an update that is not good news. Basically, the loophole that companies have been using to be able to ship devices to the United States for you Americans is going to be closed, according to the Orange Man. And apparently, this is going to start on August 29th. So it remains to be seen what's going to happen here. But if we take this by its word, as of August 29th, that loophole will be closed, which means pretty much every American is going to be charged all of those tariffs, taxes, whatever you want to call it, on incoming purchases. Does that mean you should go out and buy your stuff right now? Probably. Does that mean that he could change his mind again in the next few weeks? Also probably. We don't know. But this is the newest news. So, yeah, it's unfortunate. Let's jump over into software news now. The developer of Duckstation, the PS1 emulator, is ending support for Linux and is blocking Arch Linux build now. It seems like he was getting complaints about other packagers because he's tired of the headaches, and apparently only 2% of his user base uses it, so it's just not worth it for him. I have no real comments on this one. If something doesn't make sense for a developer who is providing all of this for free, then it doesn't make sense. It is his choice to do. But if you're an affected user, just be aware of what's going on. Eden, the Switch emulator, received a new update. This is a release candidate version for version 0.0.3. They are in a feature freeze while they test out upcoming features and fix issues and all that fun stuff. Release candidate builds are usually beta builds, so if you want a stable experience, you might want to wait for a stable version. But for everybody else that wants to test new things, then yeah, feel free to grab this new version. Some awesome news for MediaTek and Dimensity users. GameFusion announced that they are planning on working with MediaTek to optimize their Windows emulator to work better with Dimensity GPUs. Since, yeah, we all know how well Dimensity GPUs work for the most part. This is awesome news, and I'm actually looking forward to seeing what they do here in a partnership. This is a reminder that Trixarian, the Nether SX2 developer, which is the PS2 emulator for Android, has alpha builds out for a port of PC SX2 on Android. It has been getting constant releases, so if you feel like testing them out, check his GitHub for that project and see how it goes. Just, again, be aware and be nice because it is alpha, so go in with those expectations. All right, so question of the week, and this one actually comes in from a user. It's Jeff. Jeff says that he uses a guide to nudge him along, and he tries to use it as little as possible when gaming. But having an easily accessible screen with a guide would be great, and this comes after seeing my Fold 7 video because I showed that off, and it is awesome. And he said he would even love to have a physical magazine around alongside him. And yeah, what is it? The Power magazine that we used to have as a kid? I forget what it was. Pokemon. I had the Pokemon one, and then there was the Nintendo Power and all of that stuff. I remember having this big booklet for Pokemon. But his question is, for the various gamer community, which is all of you, what is your opinion on using guides for games? From the haters to the lovers, these are his words, why would people even use guides? So obviously I'm going to answer this for Jeff, and then I'm interested to hear your comments in the comments. But I use guides for games that I am not familiar with and I don't want to waste time in. Like at this point in my life, when I play a game, to go in check every nook and cranny and see if there's something there and waste hours is not something that's fun to me anymore. It was fun as a kid because you used to get one game a year, 2 or 3 if you were lucky, more if you were rich. But no, usually you would get one on like Christmas or 2 on Christmas, and then you get like another one on your birthday, and you had like 2 or 3 games a year. So that was it, that you had to basically explore the entire game. When you're older and you have all these games to play, right now I just want to be like, okay, I want to get to A to B and then move on. And guides help with that. So I'm actually using a guide for Suikoden 2 right now that just does that. It tells me how to get all the characters, tells me how to go through the game. And I find that to be enjoyable for me personally. But there are other games where I just won't use a guide and I'll just go through because it's easier, like a platformer and all that sort of thing. So let me know in the comments below. Do you use guides? When and if? And all that sort of thing. Let's answer Jeff. All right, let's jump over into device news now. And we're going to start with Retroid news first. And if you haven't seen, a lot of people's Flip 2s, mostly black color from what I've seen, are cracking along the hinge. And it's been enough of a thing that Retroid has put out a statement. Now, they are saying that you can get a prepaid shipping label to send it back, and once they see that it has been picked up, they will actually cross-ship you a new device. It sounds like a lot of people are going to be using my Backup Your Android Handhelds video guide, because that will help you a lot in this scenario. So I'm going to plug that. It's in the description. You should check it out. Now, I've also seen some users be able to request other models or even other colors. So if you don't like your Flip 2 color, you can request another one. Or if you don't like your Flip 2 at all anymore, which there's probably a lot of people that have that regret, then you can get the 5 or maybe the Mini or whatever you want. Remember, again, these are requests. So if they don't actually go ahead with it, I wouldn't be mad, but they have been doing it for other users. So just keep that in mind. It's not something they have to do, but it is nice to see. Now, I have been on record as giving Retroid a lot of flack, especially after the Mini fiasco. But this response here is a 10 out of 10. I have no notes. They have done it perfectly. This is how you should respond when an issue like this arises. So great job to them. Now, Miyu, if you're watching, which I know you watch, you should take some notes into how Retroid is handling this scenario, because how you handled the Miyu Flip scenario is totally awful. But Retroid should show you the way of what you should be doing. Now, personally, I'm wondering if you could ask them for any Flip 1s, in case you want to upgrade from the Flip 2 to the Flip 1. Maybe they have some stock left over, and you can ask for that nice upgrade. That's what I would do. That's a joke. Flip 1 is better, but don't at me. All kidding aside, it sucks to have this happen again. I'm guessing a lot of people's faith in Hinges from Retroid is probably shaken at this point, and that's fully understandable. I would get that. It's why when reviewing this, it was like, I can't tell you what the long-term reliability of a Hinge would be in a day. You don't know. The weird part is it's all happening within like a week or two. So I don't know what's happening there, because it seems like all of these cases popped up right this week. But it sucks. It sucks that we still can't figure out Hinges after all these years. Like, GPD has it down. I can tell you that from their Win Mini and all that. Like, GPD has it down, but it seems like everybody else kind of struggles with it. And mind you, the GPD is a lot more expensive, but there has to be something going on here that Hinges shouldn't be a problem in 2025. We can do all sorts of things nowadays. Hinges should be easy to figure out. Now, personally, if I had the Flip 2 anymore, which I don't, I sold it this week, I would have traded it in, if it had this issue, for a Mini. That's what I would grab. I love the Mini. It's probably the best of the 3, in my opinion, which is funny because it changed. I went from the Mini to the 5. I never went to the Flip 2, but the 5 over time became something I did not like. It needs a grip, absolutely needs a grip. If you use a 5 without a grip, you got like demon hands or something. But the Mini, in my opinion, it's the best out of 3. That's probably what I would change to, although you would lose some money because they are not refunding that price difference. All right, so we have a lot to talk about when it comes to AYANEO this week. So let's do a very quick summary. They had an Apple-style event because AYANEO believes that selling 500 of a device on Indiegogo gives them that brand recognition to be able to operate like an Apple for some reason. But they also announced about 100 different devices. And I'm kind of exaggerating on 100. I'm also exaggerating on the 500, but they did announce a lot. There is a new vertical called the Pocket Vert, and it is Android-based. There's also the Pocket DS, which is their upcoming Android Flip clamshell. And I hope they figured out the hinges on that one. But we'll talk more about that one in a bit. There's also a new gaming pad that they're calling it, which is a tablet. And all of these are Android. Then we're going to skip over the mini PC stuff because I still have PTSD from their last mini PC releases. They are apparently releasing an AYANEO phone because reasons, I guess. And there's no way they get the bans for North America, so I don't know what the reason is for this one. But then we have a big one, and it is called the Pocket FIT, under a new sub-brand called KONKR, which is supposed to be cost-effective. They announced also another brand with a temporary name called Code R. So they're just kind of announcing things all over the place. Now, this Pocket FIT has a 6-inch 1080p 144Hz screen, Snapdragon processor, and more. We'll talk about this in a second. Then there is also the KONKR FIT, which has a 7-inch screen and more. On the Windows side, there is a Flip 11 mini gaming laptop and the Next 2, which I say we'll talk about it in a bit, but we'll leave this one for another day. It has the Max Plus 395 processor, apparently has batteries inside. That's all I kind of know about it, but we'll talk about that in the future. So as far as I can tell, we have AYANEO as apparently the premium gaming brand. We have KONKR as the mid-range budget brand, from what they're calling it. And then we have Code R, which is the entry-level brand. I am actually very curious to know what budget pricing looks like to a company that historically has no idea what budget pricing looks like. This is a very new venture for AYANEO here. In the past, when they have said budget pricing and you see the pricing, you're like, no, that's not budget pricing. But the fact that they have 3 tiers now, 3 sub-brands or 3 brands and tiers makes me think that they might get it right this time. Although they do need to figure out 4PX shipping if they're going to be going for budget, because that needs to be there. And all the other fun stuff. It needs to be compatible or compete. It needs to be competing with the other brands if you're going to do this. My other issue is Indiegogo. Usually they put these devices on Indiegogo. When it ends up being on their site afterwards, they're like $100 more at least. You can't really do that for budget. It's not going to happen. Like, people are not going to be, as much as you think people are going to jump into the pre-order phase to buy your products when they're that cheap, the moment they head to your site and they're $100 more, that's not going to work. So I'm hoping they revisit how they launch their products. And it should just be one price. None of this nonsense of early bird pricing is $100 less and all of that fun stuff. It should literally be one price, no matter where you buy it. Now, my favorite part about all of this announcement didn't even come from AYANEO. It came from Android Authority. And they released an article that says that Retroid and Anbernic should be scared of AYANEO. And that is exactly the type of content that I would expect from people that know nothing about this hobby. And it's just trash can journalism at its finest. It's there for clicks, obviously. I don't know how you could even say that title with a straight face. Given the history of these companies, you have established brands in this sector, in Retroid and Anbernic, and you have a new competitor in these price ranges, and you're telling them that they should be scared. Come on, Android Authority, just come on. Okay, so let's start off with the Pocket DS, because that one looks exciting to me. 7-inch 1080p OLED screen with HDR and 165Hz refresh rate, but it has multiple refresh rate options. 5-inch LCD 1024 by 768 4x3 screen as the second screen, Snapdragon G3X, TMR joysticks, 8,000 milliamp hour battery, and so on. The rumored price is around $380 to $400 for this, which I personally think is a great price for what you get. The only knock that I have against this so far, from what I have seen, and it is my knock against all of these AYANEO devices, it's the small sticks. Those small sticks. I get that they are TMR. That is awesome. That part is great. But the size of the sticks is just awful. And apparently you can replace the caps with other ones. So I don't know if you can go and get the AYN large stick caps that I use on the Odin 2 Portal, but I shouldn't have to go to your competitor to get larger stick caps to use on the device that costs more than the AYN devices that has a smaller stick for whatever reason that you're doing that. Sticks should not be small like that. I don't care who you are. They should not be small. The Ambernic RG557, awful because of the sticks. These, going to be bad because of the sticks. I do not want small sticks. Give me big sticks. Why are we going backwards? Go look at older handhelds. Go look at older devices, consoles, all of that. They had big sticks. Why are we going backwards? Now, all in all, I'm actually excited for the Pocket DS. It's one of the rare AYANEOs that I'm excited for, and I will likely be purchasing unless there's some sort of gotcha or like the next shoe that drops from AYANEO. But if they nail it pricing-wise and all that, I will probably buy this one. I am probably coming across as jaded throughout this whole segment, but you do this for 2 years, seeing what AYANEO has released over the last 2 years, and you tell me if you can stay jaded or optimistic and happy about every new release. And if you can do that, then congratulations, you're a normal YouTuber, which apparently I am not. Then we have the KONKR Pocket FIT, which is a name that I never want to fucking say ever again. KONKR, my God, who came up with this? This has a 6-inch 1080p 144Hz LCD screen, G3X processor, Hall effect sticks, 8,000 milliamp hour battery, and so on. It looks like a bigger Retroid Pocket 5, a more modern Odin 2, that sort of thing. Now, depending on the pricing, I could see a lot of people liking this release. But again, my big knock is the sticks, and well, we are not going to go down that road again. Now, the cool part is this actually does have those hair trigger toggles on the back, which we haven't seen yet on a handheld, and that is super cool. Mark me down as excited for 2 AYANEO devices right now. I'm not sure if I missed any other AYANEO news. They came out with a whole bunch of stuff, and there is a lot to talk about, but we got to talk about other things. So we're going to move on. Now, just quickly, I have some news on the Mangmi Air X. My review unit is on the way. It's 4PX, so I'm guessing it's probably going to take another, week and a half, 2 weeks to get to me. And then we'll do a full review on the Mangmi Air X. I'm actually very excited for this device. I think it's in a good spot, pricing-wise. Not the AliExpress pricing that you've seen and all that stuff. It is a good spot. I think pricing-wise, it's a good spot spec-wise. This could be a nice shake-up in the market by being a device in that price range that we don't have devices in, and it should give everybody else a kick, hopefully. AYN is currently doing a poll over on the Discord asking a few questions for their next handheld. Now, the mod, Scott, who I'm a big fan of, says that this is not affiliated with AYN or anything like that. However, Scott did this the last time before the portal came out, a few weeks before the portal. So by doing this poll, we know that a handheld is coming in the next 2 to 3 weeks. Scott, just say, we know already. You don't have to lie. We know already. Anyways, AYN is cooking something up. We'll talk about that in a few weeks whenever we hear about it. Now, this news came out right after the newscast last week, but we should probably talk about the GPD Win 5, or the handheld that I got super excited for, and then instantly was like, all right, when's the GPD Win 6 coming out? Now, if you recall, the GPD Win 5 will have the Ryzen AI Max Plus 395 processor, an absolute beast of a processor. It rivals an NVIDIA 4060 for gaming. It is so good. If you have not seen my ROG Flow Z13 video, you should go watch it because it'll show off what that does. And it's just a beast. It is an absolute beast. Now, the Win 5 will have a 7-inch 1080p 120Hz screen with variable refresh rate. That's cool. 32 gigabytes of RAM, minimum. That's also good. And all of the other usual PC handheld specs, except no battery. The battery is external. You buy it and you tack it on. And I have seen a lot of things in my day, but handhelds without a battery is a first. This is really going to live and die by how expensive it is. If it is more expensive than a mini PC using the Max Plus 395, and you could buy an Odin 2 Portal for the same price as this, then it won't make sense, because then you could just buy the mini PC, you could buy an Odin 2 Portal, and you could just use Artemis to stream your games. And you'll get a better experience with an OLED panel, get a better experience on the panel itself because it's 120 hertz, OLED, all that fun stuff. So this one is a weird one. Like, it's funny because out of probably a lot of people out there, this should hit me the most. I sit next to a charger while I'm gaming. So I have access to a charger for 99% of how I'm gaming. I still do not want a device without a battery. There is no world you could ever sell me on a device without a battery. Even if you have to buy it extra and put it on, that just means it's an afterthought. It wasn't included in your designs. So I'm not really excited about that. That's not something I want. Not to mention, I'm wondering how heavy that's going to be when you add on the battery, all that. So I should be the target for this, but I would never buy a device without a battery. And this is a weird one, especially since AYANEO is releasing the next two with the same processor, but also has a battery in it. So if they could do it, why can't GPD do it? This is a weird one. The only good part about the GPD Win 5 is there's no more keyboard. That's something that I have wanted for a while now. And I know there's a lot of people that are like, oh, the keyboard makes the Win 4 or whatever. But no, it was never useful. It was never good on the Win 4. It was something that you're like, oh, cool. And you never used. You might slide up the screen and you might occasionally try and type in a password and hate your life doing it. But the keyboard was never good. If they could remove the keyboard and less bulk, that's what I wanted. But they went a whole other route in this one. It doesn't matter. Either way, yeah, let me know in the comments. Are you interested in the Win 5? I have to say I was very, very interested, and then it went right off a cliff for me. XU Retro has released early bird pricing for their upcoming XU20 V32, and it is $48 US. That is a fantastic price for this. Reminder again on specs, it has the same screen as the TrimUI Brick, which is awesome, and it has the same A133P processor, which is significantly less awesome. It is Android, 3200 milliamp hour battery, and it just looks super cool to me. I think they made it a little bit too big with a bit too much bezel, but I'm still very interested in this. Personally, I plan on buying this and checking it out. They haven't reached out to me, so I don't know if they're sending me anything or anything like that. I don't even know who the contact is for that. But either way, whenever I see a purchase link, I'll be buying one, and we'll review this one. We'll check it out. By the way, it's that time of the month again, where we finished voting on our Game of the Month and Romhack of the Month for August. Game of the Month is Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga. Superstar Saga, oh my god, for the Game Boy Advance, and Pokemon Prism for the Game Boy Color, or Game Boy, whatever, Pokemon Prism. That's the Romhack. So if you want to play some games, which I know you're not playing games because you're watching me right now, but you should go play some games, come join the Discord and join us. We're playing some games. That is everything this week. Make sure that you like and sub. It really helps the channel. You can come join YouTube membership if you like to see videos early, as well as just support me. That's the main benefit. Otherwise, thank you all for watching, and that's all for me, Thunder Bay, Ontario.